Good evening. We are live. It is a Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Week 1 is in the books. An interesting week, a fun week, an exciting week. Pure optimism. I'm going for it. I'm not going to play the video because I can't find it right now. But usually, we have a phenomenal introduction here, what would get everyone pumped for this next episode. But joining me as always is the one and only Robbie Herrick. How's it going, bud?
Yes, mate, we're good. I'm just clicking through to see if I can find that video for you, but it's not. It's disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
But these things are sent to try us, mate. But no, we are good. We are tired, but that is life. But here we are again for another Tuesday.
Another Tuesday, another season, and with it brings promise, hope, a mobile quarterback. Oh, praise the Lord. We did a quarterback draw and we got more than a yard. We got a touchdown.
Whatever you are drinking, send it down the M6, down the M1 and into my hand, would you, buddy?
I would love to. No, shall we get right into it? Let's start with the box scores. Obviously, the Colts lost. Anyone watching the show should know that. I hope they should know that. Otherwise, where have you been?
Yes. 31-21. Lost to the Jaguars at home.
Better than you thought?
No. It's like I went too optimistic anyway. Yeah. But it's if you look at the the first half, just looking at the scores, went in 7 down at the half, 14-7, you're like, right. It is what it is, but the second half we can come out and do it. But then third quarter we made that little comeback, and then the fourth it kind of just almost fell apart.
Yeah, it was almost. I mean, okay, let's get the negatives out of the way. Because Mikey's here. Always nice to see Mikey. Disappointing loss, but for different reasons than previous seasons. Yeah, that is going to be my optimism, and I'll get onto that. But start with the negatives. God, the negatives. The wide receivers.
When did losing? I just tweeted out. When did mediocrity become okay? Yes, I know it's new. It's a new team, but we still lost at home to the Jaguars. We still went out there with a very. I'd say not as bad as Frank Wright, but certainly for Neil again, he's trying to protect the quarterback. But it's a divisional game against the Jaguars at home. That every year that should be a win. I don't care if you're playing me at quarterback. It is the Jaguars. They're almost, I'd say, a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm a little bit. I don't get the optimism. Yes, there's little flashes here and there. But yeah, I think he's about to go into the position group.
Yeah. So the wide receivers were. Oh my God! They need to be getting. They need to be giving AR more support. Expectations should be realistic. Need to get JT situation sorted. Either pay him or ship him, and get a vet in. Yeah, I'll touch on the JT situation. I don't want to make it the whole show because I'll state my reasons a bit later on for that. But let's start with the wide receivers. For me, they have been the past year, this year, just subpar. They're just flat. It's like they don't want to be there. I don't know if anyone stood out to you.
So, that going down the back stretch, Michael Pittman, once he started getting those targets, I think he had kind of 3 or 4 targets on the drive, and it was going nice. Josh Downs, again for a rookie, he had some nice stuff. We've seen rookies drop a lot in the past, but then, what you're looking at, Alec Pierce, didn't have a good day blocking or kind of catching. But we know, when you look at a wide receiver room and look at the roster, We haven't got many wide receivers there.
No.
And when you look at, again, through the off season with the shows we did, the tight end group isn't good enough.
No.
Was it Kyle Granson was our leading receiver from the tight ends, and it's that whole receiving core. It's not helped with obviously the rhythm of the new quarterback, but I don't think you can blame it all on the receivers.
Yeah.
There was a couple of quite obvious throws there. But obviously, AR's not going through his reads. So it's a case of you just got to get on with it.
Yeah. I think my biggest takeaway from the receivers is they were flat. A standard, if they had to rate them, a standard 5 out of 10. You can put the Pittman catch in there, but that's a run after the catch. Like, it wasn't a spectacular catch. It wasn't like a great run. It was more bad defending, but I'm not going to take him down too much. Moving on to the offensive line. I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to go through the positional groups and pick it apart week one because it was so disjointed. No one really stood out for the right reasons. I don't think anyone was particularly bad on the offensive line. I think a couple of weeks we might be looking at the offensive line of old rather than last year's offensive line.
It's hard as well for week one. What is it? Richardson got sacked 4 times, I think it was in the end.
Yeah,
but you can't lay that on. Quite like I used to say about Luck, even Rivers. When he was getting hit, a lot of the time because they were holding the ball too long. Yeah. I know Richardson was trying just to have that quick release, let's go kind of thing, but a couple of them was on him as well. And again, it's all about learning for him.
Yeah, I was listening to a Colts podcast. I can't remember which one. So if they ever listen to this, you're the credit. But they were saying this because I was sort of in and out of watching the game because I had stuff to do. The sacks, the 4 sacks, don't really do the offensive line justice. They were more coverage sacks and Anthony Richardson's trying to step up in the pocket sacks more than anything. I think there was one. If you don't look at the box score to say, you just look at the game, there was one sack on the offensive line to say. The tight ends, I will get there. It's week one, getting the rust off. The tight ends, how were they? Because I was in and out, so...
Yeah, blocking was okay. Mo Ali had a couple of targets that was nowhere near getting. Yeah. Kyle Granson was this kind of standout from that group, but definitely subpar of what I'd be expecting of a Colts team. And you know how much I love that tight end group.
Yeah.
But again, what if you just look at their offense as a whole, if running back, obviously we haven't spoken about the running backs yet, which obviously I know Mikey obviously mentioned that straight away about JT. Their running game was just non-existent for me. 65 yards on the ground. Richardson got 40 of them. It just didn't work. What they were trying. You got to give a little bit of credit to the interior of the Jacksonville defense, but there were certainly holes there that I'm not saying JT's the guy. I for one, I don't care if it's JT or a different vet or someone else. I'm not married or got my hopes pinned on Jonathan Taylor. If he wants to go, you let him go. Trust Chris Ballard that he knows what he's doing in terms of what he's building. But yeah, the running backs weren't very good either. And when you kind of look at the whole of the offense, we've seen it in the past where we've said all season we've seen nice little nice parts of it. But what I want to do is give them the benefit of the doubt up until week 4. Let's give them 4 games to kind of get the rust off, get them understand each other in live game situations, because anyone that's watched the NFL over the last, certainly last 10 years, week 1 to week 4, you tend to see that standard rise. The speed tends to go a lot quicker. You tend to be a lot better plays going on. So let's just be a bit patient. But for me, I'm giving that patience week 4.
Yeah.
That should give you a chance to get these things and get that fluidity. But I think, Mikey, you're right. Something has to happen with that room sooner rather than later. And I say, I don't care if it's JT or if it's another. We just need to be able to support Anthony Richardson properly.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the whole JT situation, because the running, it's the elephant in the room. If we had a running game, we win that game. It's as simple as that. Everyone's like, "Oh, we need to pay JT," and panicking. And
I don't care about him.
For me, if I learned this from my favourite soccer team, Arsenal. If we have to convince you to play for us, you're not the right man. We're the Indianapolis Colts. We're Peyton Manning. We're Andrew Luck. We're T.Y. Hilton, Reggie Wayne, Robert Mathis.
I wore Dwight Freeney today on purpose.
Dwight Freeney.
Because the expectations of what the Colts fans expect, what we get now, is well off the pace.
We're Pat McAfee. These, when you step into a building, you should go, okay. And if that's not for you, if you don't want to be part of the rebuild, if you want to go and grab money, that's fine. Not got a problem with it, but not at the Colts. Go and do it somewhere else. Go to Dallas. I don't care. So for me, JT's burnt his bridge for me. And, I know some Colts fans won't like that, but I would absolutely, I'd go, right, fair bit. Wouldn't franchise tag him. I'd have him on punt returns all season. Go bye. It's a passing league anyway. Don't care. Anyway, that's my rant out of the way.
Get the bitterness out, Harrison. Get that bitterness going.
Yeah, get all the negative out. Okay, so from an offensive point of view, the good side of it, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, we have flashes. We have
flashes
exactly of nice stuff.
Exactly what I expect from a 21-year-old rookie. Exactly what I expect. I thought the bad side of his game, he was playing too quick. He was trying to be Superman on occasions. I think he realised late in the game that the hits are different, the coverage is different, people are faster, stronger. In the NFL, I think you saw that realisation on his face a bit.
Was it the first hit? He was down for a little while, and
yeah,
I think it might have been the end of the first quarter. I can't remember now, but yeah, he definitely took a hit that kind of knocked him back. But just a little side note quickly. Have you seen the Aaron Rodgers news today?
I have, yeah.
Out for the season.
Have you seen the video?
I saw the tackle, but it didn't look too bad. But I haven't seen anything.
There's a camera angle, and you see the muscle like pop. Yeah.
Ooh. You got you got to feel for the Jets. They had all this big hype. They had Hard Knocks on. They had their poster boy, and week 1, boom, done for the season. Like,
at least
how Jetsy is that though?
Yeah, at least they got Zach Wilson.
Hey, well, and while we're talking about quarterbacks, my guy came in for the last 2 snaps of the game.
He did, and
absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I thought if he just kept it on that run play option, he was in for a touchdown. And anyway,
I'm having no negativity towards my guy Minshew.
On the last bit on the offensive side of the ball, Shane Steichen.
Oh, mixed bag from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like he played his emotions rather than the game.
Yeah, it's a weird. Like some of the fourth down calls were a little bit. Oh, what's going on here, kind of thing. But I think he had a bit of a noose around his neck, in terms of what they were trying to show. I don't like it. We've signed a quarterback for a reason. Yes, he's a rookie, but it's the Jaguars. We should have been going absolute balls to it.
A new joiner. Joy, nice to meet you. Shane Steichen is a rookie as well, remember that. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Joy.
Do you want to have a little look at his profile picture there?
I can't see it on here.
The last one man club, Mark Noble.
Mark Noble, yeah.
This makes Joe Lee a legend. Joe, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yes, he is his first time of being a head coach. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been in the game a long time. So I get if there's a big pressure situation that he'd be kind of second guessing himself. But he got the job for a reason. Yes, expect one or two, but let's get it right. We played the Jaguars at home.
Mm-hmm.
We're not playing a title contender. We're not playing even a playoff contender. It's the Jaguars. They're going to finish third or fourth in this division.
Yeah. I feel I expected more. It's going to sound very weird. I expected more from someone who seems very football intelligent. I feel like Doug Peterson dragged him into a scrap, which suited the Jaguars, and he fell hook, line, and sinker for it. And maybe it was just his rookiness kicking in, and wanting to try and prove something. But he just needs to remember he's the head coach. He's not the offensive coordinator anymore, so he doesn't need to try and prove he's a good play caller or he can win games. He needs to prove he can get this team going forward. We're at phase one of the rebuild at the minute, so let's just hold it. I do like aggressiveness, but let's just remember now we have more responsibility. We can't be that aggressive call all the time. It's when you're the coordinator.
So I am assuming that sorry, mate, you kind of went all blurry for a second then, but just to jump in, we're always assuming that he's play calling, and it's not Jim Bob.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously like I think they showed more images of the referees than what they did of the coaching sideline on Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it just hopefully this is kind of week one. We kind of wanted to get through the game healthy, and then it's the Texans, and this for me is a must win. Yes, I know we're week 2 and it's a long season, but this is where you have to show what you did in the off season.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's enough for the offensive side of the ball. Like I said, I don't want to drag this on too long because it is week 1. We'll have more and more to break down and kick into as the weeks go on. Mike, you don't know if you said already, but what do you think about going for it a 4th down at the end? Yeah, I'm with you, Mikey. I think that was a bit of a trying to be too clever rather than just playing the chance game. But like Robbie said, week 4, let's wait until we see what we've got. Let the rookies make the rookies' mistake. I don't expect them to be making this. If we're still talking about these same mistakes in November, December, that's when I'm going to start getting a tad annoyed.
I think we gave Frank Reich a bit of a gimme quite often.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's kind of week 4. We need to be having that train at least in motion, because again, little flickers which are lovely to see, but that consistency is what gets you where you need to go.
Yeah. Joe, this season's not about wins and losses, IMO. It's about number 5 to go. If we have game.
I get that, Joe. I do. But if you were a season ticket holder, if you're going week in, week out, you want to be seeing your team compete. And as long as we're competing, again, by week 4, and then hopefully then you kind of put into motion. If you're drafting someone in the first round, you expect them to play. And you expect them to play at a good level, whether it be a wide receiver, whether it be a tight end, whether it be a center. If you draft him in the first round, just because he's a quarterback, yes, he's got more to take on, but you expect him to be performing. So, as I said, I'm going to give him a bit of grace, 4 weeks, but let's stop this mediocrity that is okay.
Yeah, we're just an emotional bunch, Joe. You'll get used to us. We are so scarred by the ups and downs of Carson Wentz, Philip Rivers, and everything else in between. That we just...
The lack of tight ends, the lack of quality tight ends, Harrison. Let's get it right. The only reason I'm so mardy about everything right now is because our tight end room. If we had a better tight end room, I would be singing from the hilltops, but no.
Yeah.
Defense. My first comment on the defense is: Shaq Leonard not match fit? Is he mentally scarred, or is it just first game not matched, not up to speed yet?
Before we get into that, it's fine. I told 11 years. I've just become to this.
Joe, this is a safe space. Everything we do and say here is about getting it off your chest.
Big Shaq Leonard, the maniac.
So his 8 tackles in total, three solo, 1 tackle for loss. From his standard pre-injury, that's mediocre numbers. But again, am I just being a bit harsh? He's had a long time out, both mentally and physically. It's just going to take a couple of games to get him up to speed.
Yeah, I'm going to stand by my comment, which I made in our group, and that is, I think Shaquille Leonard is an excellent soldier. He's phenomenal. He's talented. Everyone can get behind him. He's charismatic. I don't feel like he's an excellent officer. Look at every time he's done great, he's had Anthony Walker there, or when Anthony Walker left, there was obviously a drop off, but stuff going on and in and out. So I feel like he's good. He needs to be the lightning rod of that defense, which is fine. He just then needs someone else to be in the shadows behind him. Yeah.
No, I get that, and obviously Joe said there about EJ Speed,
EJ.
I think again there were some really nice parts of, some of this defensive roster have been on our roster for a few years, and what's nice to see, the people like Zaire Franklin thought was very good. EJ Speed, Blackman had a pretty good game. Kenny Moore, pretty quiet, but he had some good coverage. I think Nick Cross come up with a couple of good tackles. But where I feel we lack again is just our defensive line. There was a lack of real penetration from the defensive line. And Mikey, I don't know how you can say the defense was good, through the whole game. Like, individual had good parts, but for me, when you can see 31 points at home to Jacksonville, yes, there was obviously a couple of turnovers where they had short fields, but 31 points to Jacksonville. I don't know what Jacksonville did in terms of Calvin Ridley, because he seemed to be really going for a game. It looked like he'd get 200 yards at one point. I think he finished with 100. But during the second half, he got a little bit quiet there. And there's usually one Jaguars tight end that we've never heard of that usually turns up. It always happens for some reason. But for me, the defense wasn't good. It was okay with flashes of good.
I love Gus Bradley. I love this defense. I love DeForest Buckner. I love Grover Stewart. Them two, phenomenal pairing. It's weird because it doesn't feel like we conceded 31 points. I know we have, but it doesn't feel like it. Pass rush has been dormant since 98 retired Jet. Love pay, but I don't think. Yeah, it definitely. There's definitely growing pains there. I feel like. Part of them were, and then it's ups and downs. I don't. Juju. God, I've forgot his name already. Brent. He was inactive due to personnel reasons or something.
Okay.
The young rookie cornerback. So maybe there's something missing there. That's about it really for the game.
Obviously like Big Grove and DeForest, they got a couple of good tackles in, but certainly not enough tackles for losses. I didn't see enough of that in the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing Deo either.
No.
Which is a little bit strange. And usually, obviously, we obviously love a bit of special teams.
Yeah.
We actually let a runner go. That was for the first time. Like they had one good run, didn't they? From return. And other than that, it's pretty good. What's Joe there? Joe, we mentioned the wide receivers at the top. We were worried coming into the season with the lack of real depth. Who's the kind of backing up Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Josh Downs for his first game was quite nice. Had some quite cute stuff. Alec Pierce had some good flashes last year, but I don't think there's enough there. And then when you add in the tight ends, I don't know if there's enough support there. So again, it might be hindering on our offensive play.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to sort my hair out, mate. Going off on one.
I think the bottom line of the wide receivers is we're still worried.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna have to cut this short because
is your little one going?
Plan.
That's fine, mate. So next week, give me a prediction. We're Houston away.
It's gonna be a win. It's gonna be an easy win. 28-0. A shutout. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I wish I was drinking what you're drinking.
I love it. 16-1 is the mission. 16-1 it will be.
I saw some flash of highlights of the Texans game. They didn't look anything special as per usual. I think Stroud's playing QB for them, but they got battered by the Ravens like 25 something. I think we'll concede a couple. I think we'll score a couple more.
There you go.
Yeah, quite similar to Joe there. I'd like to see us getting over 30. I think AR is going to use his feet a lot more. I think once you look at the game film back, I think you'll see him running a bit more.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, there were holes where he could have run into, but I think they were trying to get him to stay in the pocket. And I don't like as any Colts man will be, we like pocket passes, because that's what we've always had. To be fair, the last few years we haven't even had that. But with a modern game, you need someone that can run, and I think we've actually got a runner here.
Yeah.
But again, that'll kind of that will certainly build into it. But we will be back for a longer, more in-depth episode for next week. Website should be launched this week, hopefully, Mr. Woods.
Hopefully before the Houston game. Hopefully.
Good. So do you want to leave it there then? Because you got to run off.
Yeah.
For Mad Max.
Yeah. All right, buddy. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. See you all later. And like Robbie said, we'll be back for longer.
No worries, buddy. Speak to you later.
Bye-bye.